We hear this story all the time about Western aid and partnership in Africa. But what if that's not really the whole picture? Today, we're diving deep into a really powerful analysis that argues this whole relationship is just a carefully constructed illusion, basically, a game of smoke and mirrors. So let's peel back some of those layers. So, this is the promise, right? Africa as a future powerhouse, just brimming with resources and incredible human potential. It's this amazing vision of a continent on the rise. But, this really optimistic view, it's actually just the starting point for a much more critical conversation. Okay, so if Africa's potential is so obvious, then why the smoke and mirrors? This is the real question we're going to dig into. Why is there such a massive, massive disconnect between the promise of partnership and the reality we see on the ground? All right, to even begin to unravel this, we have to understand this idea of a tale of two truths. See, this isn't just about one side being deceptive. The analysis we're exploring suggests that there's a serious disconnect happening on both sides of the table. And this is where it gets really fascinating. The analysis actually pulls from the ancient wisdom of Sun Tzu: know yourself, know the enemy. The argument is so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. To have any chance of winning this game, Africa has to first see the entire board and all the players on it for who they truly are. So here it is, the core of the argument, this dance of deception. On one hand, you have the West offering a helping hand, while, according to this source, profiting from the chaos behind the scenes. And then on the other side, you've got some African leaders who are playing along, seeking that international approval instead of just confronting the really uncomfortable truth. It's a cycle that, well, it benefits the powerful, and it comes at the expense of the people. So, how in the world is a deception like this maintained? Well, it's all about the stories we're told. Let's take a closer look at the public narrative. Those really carefully crafted messages that shape our whole understanding of what's really going on in Africa. A perfect example? Take what's happening in Nigeria. We often hear about the critical need to protect Christian communities, and that's a noble humanitarian cause for sure. But what if that's just the cover story? The analysis we're looking at here suggests this narrative is a very convenient distraction from the real prize. And that brings us right to the heart of the matter. A super high-stakes game for resources. This is where the smoke starts to clear, and we can begin to see the hidden strategy at play. Let's be really clear here. The West knows Africa is the future. They are not blind to this. They see the potential. But acknowledging that potential out loud means giving up power and giving up an advantage. So instead, a story of chaos and instability gets amplified, and that creates the perfect justification for intervention and ultimately control. So what you're seeing here is basically the playbook, what the source is calling the full circle tactic. Step 1, destabilize a region. Step 2, fuel the conflict with weapons. Step 3, publicly condemn the violence that you helped create. Step 4, swoop in to help. And the end result? Well, you gain access to resources. It's a cynical strategy, but a brutally effective. I mean, wow, this quote really just says it all, doesn't it? The real game is the resources under the feet of where those Christians live. It's just a stark reminder that behind those humanitarian headlines, there's very often a much more calculated economic agenda. Okay, so after all of that, you're probably wondering, is there a way out of this cycle? Well, the analysis doesn't just point out the problems. It also proposes a solution, and it's one that has to come from within Africa itself. The very first step, it's pretty blunt. Put on some reality glasses. It's a simple message, but it's profound. Stop listening to the words and start watching the actions. It is a call for a whole new era of African realism. And once that realism sets in, a whole new strategy starts to take shape. It's about looking inward, building unity, investing in self-reliance, and importantly, speaking truth to power. Now, it's not going to be easy. There might even be some short-term pain, but the goal is nothing less than true long-term independence. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. The analysis actually points to real-world examples. Countries that are already charting a new course. Countries that are putting their own people and their own interests first. This, the argument goes, is the new standard for African leadership. So when you boil it all down, it really comes to this one thing. The West has always known Africa's value. The real question is, when will Africa fully embrace its own power? And when it finally does, what will that new future even look like? That's the question we're left with.